and I picked it up 2018 and have had quite a dramatic story with it actually. My name is Stefan Bircher. I drive an Aston Martin saloon, 1986. It rolled out of the factory new. Because when I picked it up, I got an invitation from a friend of mine who held his wedding in Como. And I was really happy about that because what better distance than to drive from Zurich to Como. There's beautiful B roads and that will be our virgin trip. So I was looking forward to that event. A friend of mine came with me as the girls did the journey with the station wagon and all the luggage and our 3-year-old back then. So we hit some B roads. They were as good as they were promising. We arrive in Como in front of the Villetta. Beautiful view, and at the same time my wife arrives with her little boy jumping out of the car because he was in the car for way too long. So I jump out too, I hug him, and my colleague goes, you know what, you drove all the way, let me do the last 50 meters through the gate towards the Villetta. I was happy with that, so I held hand with my little boy and we walked behind the Aston. He drives through the double wing gate. It's 8 p.m, so quite dark, and apparently that little knob, that little pin that holds both wings together is a little too high for the Aston. So he gets stuck and he rips off the whole bottom of the car and the whole exhaust system falls to the ground. Car is really, really loud then, and our little boy starts laughing out loud. And being a good father, you know what to do in this situation. You start laughing too. But although you don't really feel like laughing at all. I knew the trip was doomed. I knew I would not be driving back with the car. So we organized the car back to Zurich, to the dealership and workshop where we initially bought it. And his insurance company pays the bill. They actually take care of it all while we are waiting for the spare parts. 3 months go by, winter comes, winter kicks in. Winter in Zurich can be hard, so the workshop calls me and tells me that I need to pick up the car because they still did not get the parts. They roughly fix it together, they gaffer tape it together somehow. I drive it back, just city cruise, no freeway at all. Park it in my garage, wait for another 2 months, and I finally get a call, but it's not the workshop. It's my father-in-law who initially brought me together with the workshop and dealership and asks me if I heard the news. I hadn't heard the news, so he tells me the news. The news are pretty bad. The workshop is bankrupt and the owner of the workshop had killed himself. So it was pretty dramatic. A poor guy, because he was one of the greatest mechanics I ever got to know. Obviously, he was not that big of an entrepreneur. The company went bankrupt and he killed himself over it. The car was with me, but the reparation still wasn't done. It was in the garage. It was fixed together somehow. And there were funerals held and everything, and I had to find a new workshop. And I eventually did find a new workshop, and I eventually got the parts. And so approximately 12 months after initially getting the car, I got the car back, and this time for good. This time it was running in a proper order, and I've done some pretty nice big trips with it ever since. Got back from a trip around the world. We were traveling the world for about a year, and within that year I started researching on E-types because I initially wanted to have an E-type. I got back, my father-in-law worked for a dealership that distributes Aston Martin and Jaguar in Switzerland. So he hooked me up with the contact of an old friend of his who has his own dealership and workshop to find the perfect E-type for me. And that guy organized an E-type for me, looking at me for the first time, going, "You're probably too tall for that car, but I'll organize one and we'll see if you fit in." Story's easy to tell. Short form, I'm too tall for the car, can't have one. And so I started thinking about an Aston Martin. That was my initial goal, but I always thought that's never going to happen. I'm never going to have an Aston Martin. That very same dealership had an Aston Martin to sell, and it came from an opera singer who needed the money. And so it was quite inexpensive to get back in the day, and that's actually how I got it. There's always technical issues with the car, but that's what you get when you get an Aston Martin. It's handmade, especially from these days. The car is not as powerful, not as fast as you might think it is. It's really a GT, and that's a good thing. I like it to be a GT. I have another car that's a bit faster than that, and so I like to compare both, and I like to drive both. And whenever I feel like doing a big distance on a decent speed, and I need 4 seats, because we're a family of 3, so I need 4 seats, and a decent trunk actually, to even fit our little boy's bike in, the Aston's the perfect choice. What I don't like about the car, probably the only thing it's not even that I don't like it, but there's just other makes that do it better, is you feel the car's heaviness in every corner and on every acceleration. And I think that could have been done a little better, but other than that, it's an 86 car, so it's quite old, and given it's that old, it really drives well. We're here 2021, and the new Bond has finally arrived, and it's a Bond car. It's Bond spec'd when it comes to the color combination. It's a left-hand drive, not a right-hand drive. It's an automatic gearbox, not a manual, but it's got those bumpers that Bond's car has too. Well, everybody refers to it as a Vantage, the one Bond drives. I'm not sure if it is, because it has those E-type bumpers, and they are actually made, they've only made these on saloons as far as I know. But I hope you've seen the Bond movie. I haven't yet. It just came out. When we're shooting this, it just came out. So I'm really looking forward to see my car again in that very special Asian movie.